Cool.
And everything she touches, that just is part of the natural world.
Mhm.
So
Okay, cool. Thank you. And Michael?
Okay, so that actually really helped. Thank you, Sasha.
no problem.
I'm gonna play an ecstatic, because I've really wanted to like try to play an incubus character for a long time, and it sounds like this would be like right up that alley.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, that character, all of these characters will fit in very, very well into the scenario. Before we get started, what is it? What would each of you like to get from this session? What is it that? What can I help with? What can we do in this game? What do you want from the game tonight? What would you enjoy?
To learn more about the world and how our characters navigate it and how we might be able to adapt this system to a therapeutic game.
Okay.
To help and empower people who might be experimenting with very powerful or maybe even sometimes stereotypical personalities that they're almost like putting on and maybe isn't who they are 24/7, but the concept and parts of it intrigue them and they want to feel empowered by it, because normal fantasy settings may or may not give them that power.
I get that. I get that a lot. Michael or Heather?
I agree with Sasha.
Okay. So are there any questions that I can answer? Any questions I can answer before we get started? Was there anything that you ran into going, how do I do this? What does this mean? How does the system work?
So I was looking at the flaws,
Mm-hmm.
and so the one thing I was a little confused by when it said inappropriate, it said specifically animalistic. That
Okay.
yeah, that I was a little, I'm like, okay, how does one how do I interpret that? Like, because there's many animals.
Mhm.
So, and I'm like, I do have powers of getting, claws and all that other stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. But what do they mean exactly by, that? So
It really depends on the animal that you choose and how you want to play it. The character, that particular character was inspired by a unfortunately now deceased sweetheart of mine who went by the name of Coyote, and that, let's just say that she lived that name a lot in terms of her mannerisms, in terms of the way that she viewed and interacted with the world. The person who played that character in the last session was gravitated toward crow, and so she incorporated a lot of like bird-like mannerisms and so forth. If you wanted to be more bear, would be kind of the, I'm going to go and scratch my back up against this thing. Or if it was wolf, it would be more, howling with victory or howling with anger. It would really depend on the animal that you wanted to play and how you wanted to play it.
Okay.
And the inappropriate element would just be most folks kind of look at somebody with animal like, with animal like mannerisms or so forth and go, okay, then. Are you all familiar with how the system works? The very basics of the storyteller system.
no, outside of Changeling, I'm trying to think if we touched on darkness with any of the other games.
Okay.
So yeah.
So each of the dots on the character sheet represents one die, one 10-sided die. When you're doing something, in most cases, if you're doing a task, you're going to be adding like a trait like an attribute to an ability, and then adding those together. Like for instance, you have to strength 3 would be 3 dice plus athletics 3 dice would be a total of 6 dice, six 10-sided dice rather. And in the case of casting magic, you use your arete, which is this trait right here. And all of you, I believe, have an arete of 3, so you just be rolling 3 dice. When you're casting magic, whatever method you use, which is the focus, which is detailed here. Your focus is, why do you believe magic works? That's your paradigm. How do you focus that belief into action, which is your practice? And then what what tools or activities do you use when doing that? So for instance, if your belief was, I am in touch with the natural world and I am embodying the goddess, then your belief would be, I am in touch with the goddess and I'm channeling her powers through the natural world. Your practice in that case would be god bonding and witchcraft. And what you would do possibly would be, I pick up a handful of dirt, invoke the goddess and say, through this dust I curse you. And that would I would be, say, casting that spell to do whatever it was you were trying to do. It's one of the keys with mage is improvisational magic. The magic is an extension of the mage rather than an extension of the individual mage, rather than all spells work this way, like say in D&D, where all druids cast it the same way, or all wizards or sorcerers cast it the same way. Magic is an extension of the individual, which from a therapeutic standpoint, for Mike, actually no, I think it was Sasha, you said that you were looking for the therapy, whichever. From a therapeutic standpoint, Mage is a very good game for getting a player to express themselves and the empowerment of themselves. Empowerment is one of the cores of Mage, because, and it's as it says in the introduction to Mage 20th, you are not powerless in this game. Where many of the games in the world of darkness are all about struggling with the forces that keep you down, Mage is about elevating yourself and elevating the world around you. And the conflicts within Mage come from different mages and different factions having different ideas about what that looks like. Say like the technocracy is all about enlightenment through control. If we do this thing, and if we control these random elements, and if we convince the world, if we convince all people that the world works this way, then we can cut out the random elements and the world will be safer and better for everyone. If you're an ecstatic, for instance, you believe that empowerment comes from opening yourself to possibilities and embracing and then transcending the threshold of your limitations by going further than you believed was possible. And again, all of that is depends a lot on your paradigm and on your practices, and the core of Mage in that respect, or I should say the therapeutic application of Mage in that respect, is that it encourages you to look at the way that you want to change the world, and then to change the world in that way. Any other questions? Anything else I can help with? Okay, so the background for the scenario tonight is that all of you are at a festival called Catastrophe. Catastrophe is held out in various different places. The location changes from year to year. In this particular year, you're in the this particular year, it's being held out in the deserts in central Nevada. Which means that for miles and miles and miles, there is nothing except the festival and dust, dirt, and the mountains on either side. You can look look in each direction for miles and miles and miles, and all you see is just emptiness except for the festival itself and perhaps the clouds of dust, which you find yourselves as we begin. One of the other elements of the festival is that is constant 24/7 pounding music, whether that's the music beaten on drums for organically, or whether that's electronic music which surges and pulses through the speakers of the various different camps around. Exactly. Yep. Has anyone here actually been to Burning Man? Okay, so I'll get to share some of my Burning Man memories with you. But yes, and one of the things about catastrophe that anyone who's been to catastrophe can attest is that the experience is going to change you. The people who have gone to catastrophe year after year find themselves transformed in new and different ways. And sometimes those transformations are great and wonderful, and they meet the love of their life, or they break through some sort of mental block that they've had. And in other cases, they find themselves confronting confronting aspects of themselves that they hadn't really wanted to see until that moment. In this particular case, all 5 of you have been enjoying the festival, and you've been jamming out and partying and meeting people, and then things change. It was a great party, until it ended. Then you woke up. Okay, you would sense that there was something strange and distracting, disconcerting before everything, before the party. There's kind of the proverbial disturbance in the force before that moment. Now, you've always kind of come to expect that by now. Maybe you've been to catastrophe before. Maybe this is your first time. But in any case, you kind of sense there was something strange about this evening. And then you find yourselves in sort of a cloud of dust. And in all directions, it's night. And in all directions, all you can see is the vague flash of the lights, far, much further away than you were standing mere moments ago. Is that better? There we are. The air is thick and chilly, colder than it was when you just a few moments ago, wherever it was you were doing the sweat. Maybe if you were dancing, the sweat is starting to dry and cool against your skin. If you were sleeping, you're no longer in your tent. If you were talking to someone, they're gone. You find yourselves standing in this dusty, sort of almost netherworld. You can sense you can sense the festival and the pulse and the pound of the music. You can see the lights flashing through the mist, through the smoke in the distance. But sound here is muffled and chilly. And you're standing with 4 people you've never seen before, at least never talked to before. Perhaps you've passed each other, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, but you've never spoken until this moment. So looking around at the 4 of you, who do you see? Please describe yourselves. What do you look like? What do the other people here see when they see you?
You would see a woman, but not just any woman, a woman that reminds you of all the women that you have met, whether it be your mother, your sister, your grandmother, your lover, your friend. She, her hair seems to pour past her shoulders and down her back and all the way down. It is the color of the rich earth under your feet. Her eyes are like the glowing, soft moon in the sky. Her skin is supple and warm, and, and when you look at it, you feel as if you are embraced in the most calming hug that you have ever felt. You feel that you are at peace in the world right now, even though you are not sure of what is going on. That is okay. This moment is a moment. What was, and we can look forward to the future. And she just looks around and she just sort of nods and kind of gives you a soft smile and a nod. Hello, everyone. Greetings.
Cool. Thank you.
So if when you look at my character, you would see kind of an athletic, medium build male with kind of a crew cut, and you don't notice anything overt, but you get the sense that there may, I guess the kind of term I'd use is enhancements. There's nothing like obvious, but you can tell they're different in some way. There've been modifications made, some piercings, those other things that are kind of more obvious, but you get a sense that there may be some changes that they have undergone to change how they perceive and interact with the world. To that effect, they're also carrying kind of a laptop that looks a little different, and they have not really sunglasses, but that's the best closest term that I could use. And you almost get the sense that they're paying attention, but they're almost engaging in a reality over a reality. So they're looking at you, but you don't know if they're really looking at you.
Cool. And so Michael or Heather?
My character is a tall female. You'll notice she has dark purple roots that fade out into a light lavender. Very long hair down to her waist. You notice that she has tribal but more celestial tattoos around her body, most notably one that goes down her cheek, in a white color.
Neat.
That almost seems to glow. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, Michael.
And lastly, you are all drawn to the gaze of the last character, who is standing in a long red leather trench coat, but doesn't seem to be wearing a shirt under it. And you see a lot of tattoos across his chest and weaving down and around with different necklaces and jewelry, very clearly trying to stand out in a crowd. Jet black hair, even though he's light skin colored. Not small by any means, but skinny, tall. wearing again leather, but black leather pants with long combat boots as his shoes. A silver chain around his pocket, and other, bits of jewelry. Instead of a watch, wearing a spiked bracelet, earrings, that kind of stuff.
Cool, thank you. And so as you're all sort of getting the impression of who the hell are these people, and who the hell are these people, and where the hell are we, and what the hell just happened here, you sense more than hear a voice that reverberates into you, through your skin, into your bones, up through your feet, kind of almost kind of being picked up by the hair on the back of your the backs of your arms and the hair in your head. Oh, well, so this is who I have to work with tonight. All these brave souls with their hearts in the right place, I assume, but their eyes just looking for something else. Well, let's see what you can do. And what you can do, perhaps, for me. I'm Catastrophe, of course. Not the catastrophe that you know, but the catastrophe everyone feels, even if you don't see me. I sense that there is something different about the five of you, and, well, I'm rather hoping that you can help me. If you do, I can assure you, I can help you. I have favors I may bestow on you if you can do a favor for me. What do you think? What would you like this evening? In exchange for, it is assuming that you will help me. Is it desire? Is it dance? Could I give you visions? Help you sleep? Help you stay awake? Make you stronger? Make you richer, at least for now. Might I help you dance? Might I help you feed? Might I give you the greatest memories of this coming night? Or perhaps wipe them all away? Name your price, and I'll name mine.
So, go ahead. I just
I
about
don't
something.
Real price
Okay.
before we
So my character is kind of talking almost indecipherably, and you kind of get a sense like he's having a conversation with somebody else, and he's just kind of like, no, that won't work. No, that's not a fault in the code. And then he kind of suddenly kind of jolts out of it as if he starts to pay attention to the actual situation in front of him, and it's just like, whoa. Normally, when I forget to take my medication, my anxiety doesn't kind of literally pull me out of reality. Who are you? Catastrophe?
Well, yes, of course. Who else would I be?
That's a good question. Who else would you be, and where are we?
Oh, you're still here. I've taken the liberty of taking you somewhere where we could talk, where I could speak with you a bit more privately than perhaps we would be speaking if you were where you were a few moments ago. You definitely get the sense that there's you definitely get a sense of arrogance and mischief and definite sense of superiority here, but then what experiences you've had with spirits, this definitely seems to be expected. But you know also that you should be very, very careful what you ask for.
And
Maybe-
what is a catastrophe asks of us?
I have a problem tonight. It's been building up for quite some time, and I've been trying to be reasonable with them about it. But you see, this is my home, wherever it is that I happen to be, and there's someone, and you get a sense. You don't actually see catastrophe, but you get a sense of being directed back toward the light and the sound. And through the mists, you gradually see a shape rising up from from one particular part of the hexagram, which is what the kind of the city camp of catastrophe is called, sort of being rising up in the mist, almost like an octopus or squid of some sort, whipping out tendrils and wrapping this light energy back into itself. Some people tonight seem to wish to take more than is welcome. I'd just like you to convince them very nicely, if necessary, if possible, to stop, because this is my land and my home, and my people are under my protection. And they assume too much and take more than I'm willing to give them.
They don't sound like good guests at catastrophe.
They're really not. They're very perceptive.
Well, I'm all for helping people, but speaking about being perceptive, it sounds like your rewards tend to be temporary.
Well, I can't say that I have a lot of control outside of my domain. This is, my rewards are mine to bestow in my heart. The rest of the world, I don't have much use of it. But what you bring forth from tonight will stay with you if you wish it to. I mean, I can't grant temporal riches. I couldn't make you rich. I couldn't make you wealthy beyond tonight. But I could make your experiences here worthwhile for as long as you stay.
Would helping you help me become more knowledgeable, more skillful?
Oh, quite possibly. It depends on what you wish to be knowledgeable and skillful about.
Fixing things, fixing the world, adapting it to my needs.
Oh, I'm all about that. I'm sure I can help you.
And
What do you
if
guys
the
think?
Earth just sort of kind of is, she has closed her eyes and she's sort of sitting, and you can see that she's listening specifically to Catastrophe's cadences and how they are saying the things.
Mhm.
We are guests in your home, Catastrophe, and you wish to bestow us gifts. That is riches beyond any. You are truly not only a humble, but a wonderful, um, trying to think, what's the word for somebody who's the person who's running like the party?
Host?
Yes, host. My only ask is how can we make this land enjoy the bountiful pleasure that we are currently enjoying? How can we attune and have the very ground that we are on be filled with the rhythm of the music that will spring forth life from the sands and dunes.
You are perceptive, quite perceptive. I am joy. That's why that's why people come here. That's why people come to me. They come to leave that cynical, decaying filth outside. I just want to help people. I want to heal. I want to transform people's tired and painful lives into something wondrous and magical. That's what I ask. That's what I bring. And sometimes the transformations involved are painful, but it's joy. It's joy in the end. It's joy that comes of it. I'm certain. And in fact, the way that she phrases "I'm certain" makes you realize that she's really not certain. She's obviously knows a bit more than she's saying here, but
Okay. Is there a way for us, because my character is specifically listening to the cadence of her, and is there a way to decipher whether or not there is, well, of course, there's more to what she's saying, but more that her joy,
Mhm.
whether or not it is something that we all could agree on is joy, and not something that is inherently like, yes, it's joy and she wants to bring joy, but is her view of joy something that we living as mages and in this world might inherently see as painful?
Okay, that's a excellent question. So, what is your and we'll bring some system in here. Is your perception plus let's see, either enigmas or empathy, whichever is higher.
Okay, let's see. First my perception. Perception is 3.
Okay,
And what's the other thing? Enigmas?
either enigmas or empathy, whichever is higher.
Okay. Trying to find where those would be under.
Oh, empathy is under talents, and
Uh,
enigmas is under knowledges. Let me pull up you're the witch, correct?
yeah, they're the same. They're 2.
Okay, so yes, please roll 5 dice, and anything that's a 7 or higher counts as a success.
Okay. So it would be 5d10.
Yeah, 5d10, and you want to roll 7 or better.
Okay. I got 2 8s.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, you can tell through analyzing her voice, you can tell that it's not actively malign. This is not it doesn't sound like you're dealing with a trickster spirit whose idea of joy is watching somebody fall down the stairs and hurt themselves because that's funny. You get the impression, one, that she is sincere. That more than anything else, she's trying to understand what mortals find joyful because it confuses her.
Okay.
Uh,
The problems for most immortals.
yeah,
So
pretty much. Yeah, that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
okay. So wait, what else can I guess understand from her cadence and wanting that these hospitable guests who
Mhm.
are causing basically a problem, kind of killing the mood of this party.
Mhm.
So, and she has already tried to get rid of them, and they have not. Is that basically?
Basically, with the sense that you get is she's tried to be nice,
Mm-hmm.
and she's trying to be subtle, and nice and subtle are not working. They're clearly not, and you would know this much from your experience with Catastrophe, the festival so far. If they were actively being assholes, if there were somebody that was like grabbing people and stuff like that, then there's a group called the Holy Fools who would kick them out.
Okay, so they are doing something that is not overt, that is upsetting her, but has
Mhm.
not been noticed by the Holy Fools or any of the others.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that you catch as the undercurrent of from catastrophe, as the undercurrent from Catastrophe's voice, is that mortals confuse the shit out of her.
Mm-hmm.
That's you realize that from the way she's saying, what is it that you like? What can I do? And that whole idea of what can I do seems to be as subtext running through everything you've heard from her so far. And she's realizing that what is happening over there is not comfortable for her, but she's not sure if it's comfortable for them. If what it was again was, if it was a camp full of people who were, groping folks or ripping folks off, obviously she'd know to get those people out. But what's
Right.
going on here is disturbing her and confusing her, and she's not quite sure what to do about it. She thinks you might be,
Okay.
so that you. Mhm.
So my character is going to have sort of closed her eyes and sort of seems to just plant her feet kind of deeper in the sand. And she opens it. Does she have a form? Or is it just a voice?
Okay. Let's see.
'Cause
What?
I would like to do a physical movement towards the voice, the
Okay.
physical, what have you.
Okay. Since you are looking for a form, and you're looking basically what you're looking toward, if you're looking toward the festival itself, what you see is that that swirling mist and the swirling dust and the light seem to weave themselves into a pattern of a woman about medium height. Uh, she's translucent in the way that you can see through her, but she seems to be composed of a kind of ephemeral matrix of light, and I mean that matrix in the technological sense of light. She's kind of, long hair that shifts from flowing hair to dreadlocks to shorter chopped hair to a kind of a bristling mohawk. To her hair flows and changes. She's wearing belly dance garb. No, she's wearing like road warrior leathers. No, she's wearing nothing. No, she's wearing body paint. No, she's wearing kind of jeans and a strange t-shirt. No, she's wearing this elaborate costume that looks sort of like a jellyfish composed of threads. And that image is constantly changing, shifting through costumes, shifting through ethnicities, but it's all consistently a woman.
Mhm.
And she's consistently looking at you and dancing. And again, that dance is sort of it flows, and then it chops, and then it stomps, and then it stops and looks at you and says, "Oh, you can see me, can't you?"
I smile brightly, and my eyes, water begins to sort of trail down as emotion fills me, and I do not block that joy. And I kind of reach just a gentle hand as if I were to cup her cheek. And if I may call you sister, you do not need to give me anything, for you have given me everything I need. You have done so much.
Yeah, we're kind
You,
of, I'm kind of
sorry,
low.
hi.
Yeah, sorry.
If I may call you sister,
Oh,
you have done, you do not need to give me anything. You have given me everything I need, and you still are trying to understand all of us here. And I can see how heavy that weight must be. And I wish to lighten your step, my dear sister, so your dance can continue and lighten us all. Please allow me to give you that and to allow you to continue to bring joy to all of us here.
oh, you're good. She closes her eyes, and you see these trails of shimmering tears, and she smiles, and she reaches and touches your hand, and when the skin that you feel, or the light that you feel under your hand, kind of feels a crackling, like static electricity, and she brushes against your hand, and you feel this intense flow of energy flowing into you, and she whispers, "Thank you." Um, Give yourself 10 quintessence.
Oh shit.
Uh,
Okay. Uh, you might have you might have hit a theme for me when it comes to wanting to help people, so that's why I might be getting into that. Okay,
Cool.
so where's the
Quintessence. Okay, quintessence is this wheel over here, and
Okay.
essentially, yeah, just like take a pencil or something like that, and fill it. You now have 10 more quintessence. What you feel is this amazing rush of euphoria. So much so that it staggers you. It's kind of like it's like, I'd say it's like a wave of orgasm, but it's not that kind of erotic. It's bliss.
Okay.
It's you again. It's a euphoria so strong that your knees buckle.
So, two things. One, my character is going to sort of softly buckle under it and just kind of lift her head back, and her eyes more just water and wetness from just her, or like her face. She is unrestrained in her emotion, and kind of she kind of cups her breasts and kind of clutches, but in this smile, in this just deep, like she's just kind of laughing in this happy, like over the moon type of sense, and she's looking at you all, and her eyes, the pupils have just dilated and smile, and she's just kind of looking at you all in the most, like, this is the feeling of unrestrained joy. Now, on a, so does it matter which way I go with the quintessence on the wheel?
Oh, you just go where the areas are filled in. Just go clockwise.
Clockwise? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
And so what the rest of you feel watching this is this surge of ecstasy, which especially in your case, Michael, this surge of an ecstatic pulse. Again, like it's like joy. It's a surge of life force that is erotic but not sexual, if that makes sense. And again, you feel you feel the hair on your bodies and the hair on your heads bristle and shimmer if you're the ground where you're standing and just seems to crackle with life force. in Mike, in your case, if you're looking at one of your devices, the device screens just kind of shimmer and then go out for a moment. They go back on. It's not like a, oh shit, it's dead, but it's almost like there's been a pulse that shorted them for just a second and then they come back on. Heather, in your case, what you sense is this amazing wave of healing energy, life energy, kind of on a level that you've never felt before. You've felt this sort of you felt this sort of energy pass from you into someone else as you've been healing them, but it's never come to you and washed over you from another source like this before. It's almost like being kissed by goddess. And in Michael, in your case, the incubus here, this is hot, dude. This whole thing is just like, wow, whatever they just did, I want more of that, please. Please, yes, and thank you.
Can we patent this?
Hmm?
Can
You froze
we
up there.
patent this?
Can you patent it? Nope. But it's wonderful that you felt it. You want more. And that's, yeah, go ahead.
I feel like all of my problems have suddenly been solved. How can I help you with this problem? How can I solve your problem?
Thank you. That and now that she has a physical form, she's pointing over at where I was mentioning kind of the octopoid spirit entity. She points over at that, which is over at a camp with kind of blue and green light, which is much more subtle than a lot of the bright neon-ish garish light around it. It's almost like you can see the light, but it's drawing light into it, if that makes sense. And she says that is need. Need craves. Need seizes. Need draws all things to her, and she's taking without asking. And that's not something that I can abide. And I'm not even sure she knows it. Problem is I don't think she or her creatures care. And I won't have that here. I won't have that in my home. I won't have that in my heart. But I can't drive them out except with violence, and I don't want violence here. There has to be another way.
Do you know what need wants? What brought them here?
As far as I can see, as far as I can feel, what they want is life itself. They're drawing passion, they're drawing vitality from people. They're bringing people to sleep without dreams. And she's extending her arms out to a point where she almost seems to stretch across the sky. I am dreams, and need is taking them away. They claim to be a temple of peace. They call to people saying, come here and rest. But the people go and they rest and they sleep, but they don't dream. They just give without being asked. It's being taken. And I can't have that. Not here.
Hearing Catastrophe talk, it almost sounds like they're on her corner and she doesn't like it. They're
Kinda,
horning
yeah.
in on her territory.
Kind of, yeah.
So my character kind of has sort of slowly kind of rose back onto her feet. And I look to our healer. They sound as if they are hollow and they are trying to fill a wound. healer, what do you think we could do to fill that incredible hunger that they seem to be trying to fill?
My character is coming back from her senses of feeling what it must feel like to be healed. And kind of questions, is this what it's like?
Out to be on the receiving end of your arts.
Yeah, like, is this what it's like to be healed?
Mhm. Probably.
I wonder if they require inspiration.
They may.
My character nods. And what do we need to empower you to do so? To inspire them and to fill that hole that they seem to be trying to just gorge upon others. Since that seems to sound like what they are doing, my sister.
Here, please, she says, walk with me. And she starts walking toward that space, starts walking toward that camp, that space where it seems like the light is beginning to swallow up the light. Which of you have prime? The sphere of prime. Actually, I think probably all of you do.
You're a prime.
Let's see, which ecstatic.
I have 2 circles for that.
Let's see. Healer and is it reality?
I also have 2 in that.
Yep. Okay, so all of you roll your perception plus enigmas. That's perception, mental, enigmas, knowledges. With anything 5 or higher is a success.
And you said every circle is a D10.
Mhm.
So would I, if my perception is a 2 and then my enigma is a 2, would I just roll 4?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
I
You
got
said-
1-9.
Okay.
5 or up.
I got a 7 and a 6.
Okay, so that's 2.
I got a 5, an 8, an 8, and a 10.
Reroll your 10.
I got 3 5s and an 8.
Okay, so all of you can sense this as you begin to walk in toward the space. All of you feel this kind of a pulling sensation from that sort of that blue-green pulsating camp, and all of you start to notice the closer you get to it, the more agitated you begin to feel, the more whatever fears or anxieties or insecurities you feel starts to almost start crawling like cockroaches or centipedes up out of your bones and up through your skin. It's very Michael, since you rolled so well, what you notice this, what they're doing in that camp is that they are drawing life force from people's anxieties and fears and insecurities. They're kind of bringing that up to the surface and feeding on it like candy, which is ew.
Bad vibes, man.
So is their intent, is it like apparent from, I guess, Michael, this would probably be a question for him since he's receiving more than we are, but is it inherently malevolent?
Well, if Catastrophe said that it wasn't malevolent to begin with, but it's certainly not good. It's pulling out people's fears, their anxieties, their suffering, and feeding off of that.
So what, let's see. Michael, what do you have? What's your intelligence plus empathy?
Mm,
I think it's fairly high.
Intelligence and empathy is looks like 4.
Okay. Yep. 4. So, and as a GM note, I'm actually asking for more die rolls than I would normally because I'm trying to incorporate the system in here as well. A lot of times with a more established group, if we were playing like a campaign, I would just be putting all of this down to role playing. But because we're doing, because the purpose of the workshop is to familiarize you with the system as well, and because we're just sort of here for the night, I'm asking for more rolls than I would normally. I personally, as a GM, favor using the dice as little as possible, and as much and incorporating as much role playing as possible. But for this particular thing, yeah, Michael, please roll 4 dice and don't roll a 1 or a 2. Basically, don't botch.
I got a 9, a 3, and 2 2s.
Okay, you got the 9 and the 3. So as far as you can sense, because this is kind of as you're an ecstatic and that you're incubus guy here, as far as you can tell, this isn't intentionally corrupt, but it's parasitic. It's parasitic in a really kind of icky, non-consensual sort of way, and you're not getting come here vibes, but what you're getting is bad touch vibes.
Something feels sick here. Shivering, as if it hurts my soul to be here.
Oh, good. You're good.
It sounds
Yeah.
like it's poisoning the mind.
Mm-hmm. Poisoning or possibly drawing out the poisons, drawing up the poisons of the mind. That's kind of how it feels for you. It's as you step closer, as you walk closer, kind of following Catastrophe, whose walk is sort of a dance, sort of a flowing, spinning dance. What you're getting is it's not like it's not instilling your insecurities. It's like, how sometimes if you're at a party and you feel out of place and you're like, oh no, I'm trying to have a good time here, but are people looking at me? Do I look weird? Is there something in my teeth? You get that? It's that kind of feeling amplified. The closer you get to it, the more it's being the more it's being drawn up out of you to the surface. And as you get in for a while, you walk for a while, the mist thins the closer you get, and the more you can see the lights and feel the pump, the pound of the music of the rest of the festival, which I'm going to ease that out here and ease this up here.
I'm so sorry. I need to be right back.
Okay.
Major thing just happened.
Okay. Kids come first. So I guess bio break, and we will take this as a transition there.
My name's Ben Mandal. I've been GMing for well over 20 years now. I think I originally got into gaming first just out of a love of fantasy and sci-fi stories. Good old Jules Verne and Tolkien. I loved those as a kid and wanted more of those stories. When I found out that there was a way you could tell your own, and the fact that these books had really cool art, yeah, I was sold. And as I grew up and played more RPGs, I got to see that they can represent a lot more than what I thought initially. Yes, it's all about having a good time with your friends, but the depth of the stories you can tell, the emotions that you can evoke, and in all honesty, the personal growth that RPGs promote all meant a lot to me. I know that I've become not just better at things like creativity, story structure, and improv, but being a role player over these last few decades has helped me grow as a person, develop self-confidence, develop my social skills, even develop my logistical skills and the good old ability to say no. And those are all things that have definitely made me a better adult. And I'm really excited to work with people, both professional therapists and otherwise, to give RPGs the respect that they deserve, to promote all these different positive things that they can affect in the people who play them. There's a lot more to games than just reading the rulebook and understanding the mechanics, and that's what I'm looking forward to discussing in the upcoming classes.
Hi, my name's John Wick, and I am the author and designer of games such as Legend of the Five Rings, Seventh Sea, Orc World, Houses of the Blooded, and other role-playing games that are not D&D, mainly because I feel that D&D does the job it does, and other games have other spaces that they can explore and tell different kinds of stories. Seventh Sea, for example, is a game about what does it mean to be a hero and swashbuckling adventure and sorcery and things like that. But more than that, it's a game about difficult choices. I think role-playing games offer a really great opportunity to present difficult choices to players that challenge what they think their character is and also challenge things that they bring to the character. Role-playing games give you the opportunity to not just watch a hero on a screen or read about a hero in a book, but to actually not just walk in the hero's footsteps, but to make the hero's footsteps. That's why I think role-playing games are a unique literary medium. You aren't watching someone else have an adventure, you are having the adventure. And yes, that's in the guise of a character, but my goal as a GM is to make you not have the reaction, my character is in trouble, or my character is in love, or my character has to make a hard decision. But I want you to think, I am in love, I am in trouble, or I have to make a hard decision. And I don't think any other literary medium does that other than role-playing games. The author Umberto Eco, who wrote Foucault's Pendulum and Name of the Rose, he once said that the ultimate murder mystery would be where the reader finds out that they did it. And I don't think any other medium does that except role-playing games. So one of the reasons I'm really excited about this project is because I think that role-playing games offer players a safe space to make dangerous and difficult decisions. Because there's a level of distance between you and the character, you can explore things that, like in the same way that science fiction does. Science fiction can address things like racism and classism and difficult subjects like that because it happens in this other place far, far away. It's one of the reasons that Star Trek is so powerful. And role-playing games give players that same safe space of, well, this is somewhere else and this is happening to other people. And role-playing games give you the opportunity to explore those kinds of things. They don't have to be, hey, let's go and murder people who don't look like us so we can go through their pockets for spare change. You can discuss things like honor and duty and other heroic virtues that we apply to heroes and really ask difficult questions like, Are those really virtues? What does courage mean? What does loyalty mean? What does love mean? All of these different things can be explored in role-playing game because it's in a safe space where there's distance between you and what's going on in the story, but not a lot of distance.
Almost like a temple made of pillars and tents arched out across them. There's some waving. As you get closer, you see that those sort of waving arms are like banners, like flags, but they're white, kind of a white silk. Seem to be blowing in different directions, which is not the way the wind works. But from a mortal perspective, it would look as if there were fans blowing them in different directions, but you can tell there are no fans here. In fact, the air surrounding this particular camp has an almost dampened feel to it. Dampened both as in a kind of physical dampness sensation and dampened as in your physical sensations muting and your energetic and your energetic perceptions of growing numb. So what do you do as you approach? Is there anything that you're doing to prepare a particular gadget, a particular spell, to armor yourselves maybe against this, to kind of make some sort of mental shields or energetic shields against what you feel is this kind of parasitic draw on your fears and insecurities?
My character is just trying to take it all in and just kind of looking and assessing and trying to find the sort of the fault in the system, so to speak.
Okay.
My
Okay.
character is in a very conscious but meditative state, trying to clear her mind so that she can be better prepared and not drawn into the anxieties and the negative energy.
Okay, cool.
So my character equally is trying to sort of shift her mindset, since right now she feels very invaded. She feels that her space has absolutely been uh, invaded. So is she is sort of trying to move her space, her mindset from sort of a small to a big kind of cat, elongating her stance and being like, no, this this is not a time to shrink back. This is a time to present yourself in the face of something that is trying to dominate your space. Because the only way to not have a fight and not to submit to this is to push back and give at least the front of, this is my space. That might be your space there. This box, yeah, you're not getting in this box at least. So
Cool. What the rest of you notice that the witch has assumed a distinctly cat-like, not only cat-like pose, but kind of starting to look cat-like, and that's both cool and rather disconcerting. And Michael, what is the ecstatic doing?
As he's walking closer and feeling this more and more, he feels his flaws starting to come into him. These nightmares, these flashbacks starting to come in, and his bright red leather cloak is almost before everyone's eyes changing to a dark, almost muddy green color, and his vibrant chains and pants are becoming more neutral colored. He reaches into his pocket and is, fumbling with something in very uncharacteristic fashion, and turns out it's a pill bottle. Dumps a few out, takes a few, washes it down, takes a few deep breaths, and was like, all right, let's keep going.
Ooh, oh my.
Popped a couple Xanax and he's got.
So as you reach the as you reach the borders of the hexagram, Catastrophe, as I said, is sort of walking, flowing, dancing, and then it's just her form starts to dissipate more, and she becomes thinner and fainter, and she looks back at you, Sasha, with an expression of alarm as she dissipates into the last of the mist, as you step through the last of that misty area and into the light of the camp itself. The camp that says over the top, as you walk around to the front of it, Temple of Tranquility. Temple of Tranquility pulsates with, as I was mentioning earlier, with green and blue lights. There's a different sort of mist in this place, almost You ever walked into a walk-in freezer, and the way that the way that your body kind of gives off that condensation in the cold? That's sort of what you're walking into here. It's not cold. It actually feels oddly comforting and numbing as you step in. And what you see beyond the entrance to the Temple of Tranquility, there are several people who are standing by each other, and I'll mention them in a second. But the main thing you see is just lots of people, and most of them are curled up on pillows and on blankets and carpets. The floor, well, what passes for a floor here, the ground is covered in covered in thick plush rugs, like we call Oriental rugs. I'm not sure what the right term for them is these days, but those kind of really thick plush rugs. There are tapestries with sort of a kind of New Age Hindu iconography around. There are Buddha statues of various different types of Buddhas, most of them leaning toward the Chinese end of the spectrum, but there are a few that look Tibetan. And for anybody who's seen pictures of Tibetan Buddhas, those are not necessarily nice Buddhas. There are candles lit around in the space, but the predominant light here is green and blue. And the people who are laying around, most of them are in puppy piles, curled up with each other. Some of them are wrapped around each other in comforting ways. A handful of them are making out, and a few of them are sort of curled into fetal positions, shaking as if they're having bad dreams. And presiding over this, you see a short, voluptuous woman with long, curly, dark hair. She's wearing wearing a bright batik skirt and body paint, nothing else. She's got a big smile and big brown eyes, and she's talking rather animatedly to a tall, kind of like road warrior looking dude, big, leather clad biker guy with his massive muscles, lots of tattoos, very dusty leathers, and a distinctly unpleasant look to his face. On the other side of her, kind of listening but not part of the conversation between the two of them, is a very slender, very, very good looking, kind of youngish man with a sort of very pretty androgynous face, a black goatee, very short black hair. He's wearing a blanking on the name of the loincloth, essentially. And very, again, brightly colored loincloth, and it's very lean, good looking build, no tattoos or body art that you can see. And there are a few other people in the shadows you can sense, but unless you look straight at them, you can't really get much of a play on their features. What you do get from the impression is that this is being set up as a chill space, but it's not very chill. And again, that feeling of having your energy drawn from you, it's almost like it's being drawn out through your feet and into the ground. And the woman with the skirt, the one who is talking to the road warrior looking guy, looks over to you and says, come in. Welcome to the Temple of Tranquility. Please have a seat or stand, whatever you feel most comfortable with. What do you do?
like to do what I did similar to Catastrophe, to sort of study some of the cadence and how they're talking, and see not only how truthful they are to us, but also in the way that they are presenting this. We already know it's fake, but my question is how deeply do they believe in this fakeness? Like is this basically their persona and their way of, this is their reality that they believe in, or is this just a front that they are wearing, almost like a cloak to, and there is something wholly other instead?
Okay. Do you have mind? You have the mind sphere.
Where would I see?
That
this
would be under
circle.
spheres. Let's see. You are the witch.
I have life, prime, focus. I do not have mind.
Okay.
I
you
have mine.
Okay.
I have 2 in mind.
Okay.
All right. And in your case, Sasha, so you're using this mundane empathy, such as that may be.
That's
and
fine.
Michael, if you're going to try and use mind, what are you going to try to do to get a read on them?
So I entering into this feel that everything is clashing with each other, doesn't fit, the feng shui is all wrong, and that it's just creating this almost perfect pull of just almost apathy, like it's pulling everything out of the people in here. And with the mind that I have, I'd like to see who, if anyone, is unaffected by it.
Okay. So yeah, let's quickly go back to Sasha, because you're just trying to get a read on her. Please roll your perception plus empathy.
Okay, I think that was 5. So
And in this case, anything 7 or higher. Actually, strangely enough, 8 or higher.
I got 2 8s.
Okay, you've got 2 8s. So the woman who is welcoming you in seems to be absolutely sincere. If this is a front, she believes it.
Okay.
The big road warrior looking dude next to her is pretty much radiating fuck around and find out. And the guy on the other side, the kind of androgynous guy, androgynous person, is got kind of sneaky, conniving. You're getting sneaky and conniving out of his body language. He's not really hiding it very, very well. He's presenting very prettily, but you can see through it.
Okay.
So, Michael, what? Let's see. You were employing your drugs as an instrument of focus. So we can say that you're using mind. So who are you trying to get a read on here?
I'm assuming that the person who welcomed us in is being and the biker looking guy is like a bodyguard type person. So
Yeah.
The more androgynous person who almost seems to be intentionally staying out of the limelight, I'd like to get a read on.
Okay. So yeah, roll your arete. That's the 3 dice. And here we go.
Just the 3, or should I add mine to it? Or
that's so when you're casting a magical effect, you roll your arete. The dots in your spheres show how much you understand, how much you can manipulate the forces that you're working with, but you don't actually roll those.
Oh, okay. So it's
Yeah,
just
those. Yeah, the dots in Mage. This is actually a good mechanical point. In Mage, the spheres have 5 ranks. The first rank, and that's represented by the 5 dots. The first rank reflects being able to perceive the phenomenon. The second allows you to manipulate a little bit, do some minor manipulation with the phenomenon as it exists around there, like manipulating somebody's emotions or manipulating a candle flame. With level 3, you're able to affect the phenomenon some more and be able to use that effect with yourself. Like with life 3, you can use it to heal yourself. At rank 4, you're able to manipulate the phenomena fairly significantly, being able to do things like heal or harm somebody with magic alone, to be able to stop time, to be able to invoke fire or wind or something where it didn't exist before, and control it on a fairly large scale. With 5, the powers are almost godlike. At rank 5, the powers are almost godlike, and they depend, on the particular sphere. So what you roll is your arete, and you want to be as subtle as possible, because subtle magic is easier. Most perceptual magics are very subtle. If what you wanted to do was go, come here, that would be using mind in what's called a vulgar way, in which you would be commanding somebody to do something that they would not normally be inclined to do. That's harder, and it can backfire on you. What you're just doing is getting a reading on somebody, so that's coincidental. And so it really goes, in this case, against his willpower. So roll your 3 dice, get higher than a 5, or a 5 or higher.
I got a 10 and a 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You see right through this dude. In fact, literally, you can see his aura. And his aura's kind of, it's oily. It's very shifty, and he/they are very shifty, and it's kind of it's hard to get a precise reading on it, because the colors are roiling and shifting, but it doesn't look integrated. It doesn't look honest, like, at all. What you're getting from this person is they're an opportunist. Kind of a parasitical, tricky opportunist, who is just sort of at least at this point along for the ride. You're also getting a kind of a predatory vibe from this person.
I was thinking a snake.
That's an insult to snakes, but yeah. Okay, Heather, Mike, what are you doing?
I'm wondering, one of my instruments is energy.
Mm-hmm.
Could I read the energy of those who are curled up in that fetal position and shaking, comparing those to those that are not?
Yep. Oh yeah, that would be easy. I'm not even going to have you roll for that, because for you, if energy is your primary, if energy work is one of your primary magical methods, it's really obvious. What you can sense here is that these people are being lulled to sleep, that they're having nightmares, and that the energy from their nightmares is being drawn into this vortex, which if the rest of you can see, your sight is almost involuntarily drawn up into the center of the temple area. The rest of you probably notice her head going in the center area, where the temple reaches highest, is this vortex of voracious energy that is drawing both from the people who are on the ground and drawing from all of you. It's kind of drawing it down and then drawing it up. and that energy has a very distinctly anxious feel to it, as if what the vortex is feeding on is insecurity and fear. Nothing as blatant as violence or as violence or terror or pain, but shading that way as you get closer and higher up into the vortex. Do you have the spirit sphere?
Let me see. Spirit. Spirit is 2. Yeah.
Okay, so you do. What are you doing to look into what essentially what you're seeing here is a vortex? You can sense there's more to it than that.
Okay.
Do you want to see what that is?
Yes.
Okay. What do you do? How are you going to use your magic that way?
Oh boy. Oh. I'm not sure. Any ideas, guys?
Okay.
Mike-
What is? Okay.
Did I jump on step on
No,
somebody's
go ahead.
toes? I was just gonna say my character is just trying to like use their magic to kind of run like a program to scan the vortex and try and understand like what makes it work.
Cool. Do you have spirit?
Spirit. Let's see. No, I don't.
Okay. So I can tell you in a second. I'm just what I'm doing, Heather, is I'm trying to find your healer's character. Oh, there we go. It's the first one. So what you do with that is look at your focus.
Okay.
So, question: what does Prime do?
Prime works with energy,
Hmm.
and spirit works with seeing entities like what you like who you're dealing with catastrophe out there.
Okay. Is there a way to? So we know that right now this thing seems to its choice of energy it seems to want it that it's consuming seem to be negative. Is there a way for my character to boost our doctor's positive, to sort of like give her like a bit of like almost like a like I got you girl, like like you don't like that any of that like doubt in the back of your head is like nah, gone, like you got this shit.
Yeah, you could totally do that.
Okay. So that's kind of what I would like to do. So the doctor is, I guess, somewhat protected by,
Okay.
from the spear or whatever. So
Okay. Yes.
Am I able to absorb some of that energy to get a better sense of what's going on through my spirit? Like I envision like healing being like taking on the pain onto myself and healing the individual. So in a sense, absorbing that negative energy to get a better sense of what's going on.
Mhm. Yeah, you can totally do that. And I was looking at the instruments and things that you use, and some of the things that you use are body work, which is touch, like massage, and or like laying on hands. There's meditation, yoga. I mean, you could assume a yoga position, an asana, and close your eyes and breathe and sense things. You could reach out and touch people. You could talk to people.
I mean, I know that the energy is flowing into the ground and then upwards. Could I put my hand on the ground to sense the energy?
Yep, you can absolutely do that.
Okay.
And Sasha, what are you doing to help Heather out?
So what I am doing is so my cat-like features had been sort of there wasn't a distinct type of cat. Now my hair has completely disappeared and I have sort of this lioness type of look. And I have gone and I put my hands on your shoulder, like both of them. And I just quietly tell you, sister, I have you.
Cool. Okay, and go back to Mike real quick, because you're getting a reading.
Yeah. What, since I don't have spirit skill, do I need to roll?
You have prime, correct?
Let's see. I believe so. Yeah, 2 spheres.
Okay, you can, again, this is just one of those things where it's so, what's going on is so obvious that I'm not gonna even have you roll here. Yeah, you are sensing that current of kind of anxious, insecure energy being drawn into the ground and then up in a column in the center of the tent area, up to that vortex. And you can get a sense that a vortex is alive in some way. And also you would get you'd get a reading on the people. The people on the ground are sort of has this sort of like a crackling field, like a crackling dampening field around them. The 3 people, that road warrior guy, the other woman, and the kind of the slimy androgynous dude-ish, are all radiating very, very strong energy of their own. You can also sense 2 other people. You can sense their energy signatures more than you can actually see them. Off to the one off to one side, one off to another side. One of them is kind of crouching by a person who seems to be agitated but not asleep, and is whispering to them. That person seems to be, again, you're getting more sense of their energy than their physicality. Seems to be very kind of lean and crackling. And at the other side, there's another energy signature, very, very definitely feminine, that is playing a guitar, and you can't hear the words, but seems to be singing to 3 people who are kind of sprawled out around her. The sound of the guitar really shouldn't carry over the pounding music that you hear from outside. But again, as you step further into this, that pounding recedes, and you begin to hear the tones of the guitar more than you hear the loud amplified music outside.
Does anyone have music as their or within it?
Focus?
Because
Yeah.
I do.
okay.
Music. Because
I
I
was
was gonna.
actually looking into those.
I have dance, it seems, so
I also have dance.
yeah.
I have music as a focus, and I was gonna say, like, can my character like try and use their magic to like run a program to sort of capture the sounds in the room, the music, and then play that back, drowning out the music, but trying to focus on just the random bits that come in, the words that they can hear that aren't like part of the music.
Mhm. So like sampling it and then remixing it.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, you could totally do that. Okay, and Heather, what you see when you have reach down and look up, what you see is like it's like a beating heart with tentacles reaching up and out, and you imagine that's probably where those streamers are outside, but it's sort of like a large ephemeral, like giant ghost heart, beating in time with the music that woman over there is playing. And the tentacles reaching up and out through the roof of the temple. And as I said, the energy is coursing through the ground and up into a column, which is invisible to normal eyes, but you can see it now, reaching up into the center of that heart and feeding it in the pulses. And that heart is blue, like an almost like a neon cobalt ghost blue. And you get a sense with that, you get a sense with every pulse of a yearning and a melancholy. And you, Sasha, because you're in touch with her, you get that sense as well. Michael, because you're an ecstatic, and emotions and passions are your basically part of your magic in itself. You begin to feel that sense of melancholy seeping up from your feet up into your back, your skull, your chest. It all begins to feel very heavy. And the more that all of you key into that energy, the more that energy keys into you and begins to kind of draw you down, pull you down, not physically, but it feels, you emotionally begin to feel very, very heavy.
So my character will once again begin to weep. Can we have, or I guess maybe through Heather, or maybe even Michael's character, are we able to sense what is causing this melancholy, this deep, profound sadness?
Well, as far as you can tell, the sadness is intrinsic to that, and it's very clear to you now, entity up there.
So that entity literally is melancholy.
It is melancholy. It is yearning. It's not sadness in a depressed way. It's like nostalgia. The pain of the past. And Heather, you feel this especially profoundly because you're a healer. You have spirit. You have energy. You have spirit. You have prime. And you have more than anyone else keyed into exactly what is the literal heart of this temple, is yearning and sadness and melancholy. And you can catch that what's feeding on the sadness and the melancholy of the people who are sleeping or dazed or having nightmares, or in the case of the people clustered around the woman with the guitar, not quite sleeping, but enraptured.
Can I get a sense from the energy if I'm able to reverse the direction on which it flows?
You could try. That's a very good idea.
Just to see what happens.
Let's see. So let's see. This would be. I guess it would be spirit. Yeah, well, you're trying to use prime. Okay. What are you doing to reverse that? Are you going to meditate? Are you going to talk to it or try and address the entity?
It's kind of like still like looking up and my hand on the ground, going into a clear meditative state, and kind of using imagery to reverse direction of the of how it's flowing. like
Okay.
taking it from the heart.
Okay. Tell you what, one of the things that you have, because you have that extra quintessence from catastrophe, you can use a point of quintessence. What is your, let's see, your healer? What's your avatar rating? Healer, your avatar is 2. So you can use 2 points of quintessence to lower the difficulty of this. Again, this is what would be called coincidental magic, because a normal person seeing you do this wouldn't realize what you're doing. So this would be, let's see, prime 2. So roll your 3 dice for Arete, and anything higher than a 3 is a success. 4 or higher is a success.
6, 6, and 5.
Okay, so you get 3 successes, and you start to feel the energy catch in that column and start to draw in toward you instead. And that's when the big blue pulsating spirit heart turns a darker blue suddenly. Anyone with spirit sight can see this. And you get a strong surge of pain, not physical pain, but an emotional, but a yearning so deep that suddenly, let me rephrase that. You're suddenly struck by a yearning so deep that it feels like there's nothing in your life you've ever done right. It's that kind of, you have that kind of feeling when you know you've screwed up really, really badly, and you're sitting there at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and you're remembering everything that you've ever done wrong. It's suddenly like a surge of that into your heart. And Sasha, you can feel that through your hands as well.
Okay. Is there a way that I can help Heather in moving this energy? Because at least in my mind, with my witchcraft, that these emotions, there's nothing inherently wrong with them, and that we all have times and moments when we have these deep sorrows, if even grief, if we want to call it that, and that it is more about experiencing it and moving through than wallowing and living in that.
Cool.
So yeah.
Yes, you can help with that, and I will tell you how in just a second here. Mike, you had wanted to sample the music. Basically, make an Arete roll. Anything higher than a 3 works. That's the 3 dice.
3 d10s.
Hmm?
3 d10s.
Yeah, 3 d10s.
Okay. Okay. I have an 8, a 4, and a 10.
Okay, cool. Reroll your 10.
A 5.
Okay, cool. So you get a sample and you start to remix it. And what are you going to do with the remix?
Just try and analyze it for abnormalities or just things that don't quite fit, something out of place, something.
Okay. Cool. So what you're getting as you're running the analysis is that this is definitely this person is hacking reality. You know, to your perception, what this person is doing is using sound waves to evoke an emotional state that is drawing these people into feeding their energy into the ground. It's essentially she's playing a sad song and not making it better.
can I remix the music that is being played and using my own reality hacking magic to attempt to change the music so that not to invoke an opposite emotion, but rather to give people the kind of free will to enjoy the music or not enjoy it and leave?
Yes, that will take a second. So I'm going to go over to Michael, but yes, you can absolutely do that. Michael, what are you doing?
I was actually gonna ask if I could somehow help using my practice of invigoration and my own music, like instrumentation, to make that an even more powerful vibe, so to speak.
Okay. So are you going to try and help Mike? Which music are you trying to enhance? And how are you trying to enhance it?
I'm going to be trying to enhance my
You froze up there for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to enhance Mike's music
Okay.
by adding another either another layer or my own improvisation in on top of that.
Okay. Do you have an instrument, or you like be using like you could probably like stomp out a beat, or you could sing, or you could use your body as percussion? I don't think you're carrying an instrument, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked at your character sheet for a while.
No, it's just what I was looking at. I'm not carrying an instrument, but let me see what I am carrying. No.
If you don't have an instrument, let me know. I think my character like kind of has like a very beat up like Stratocaster, like he just carries it around. It doesn't look like it's actually used for playing music, more like submissively beating the shit out of stuff, but it should still be functional. Maybe with your abilities you can kind of jam out.
I was actually yeah, either that or I was going to see if somehow I could get that woman with the guitar to let me, play a song.
Okay. Are you gonna like talk to her or go up to her, or?
You know what? Yeah, I'll go up to her and try to convince her to let me have the guitar.
Okay. So now that you're walking toward her, what you can see is she's younger woman, probably early mid-20s, very long thick brown hair, big brown eyes, not like that kind of big, but very compelling gaze, kind of dressed in a hippie bard sort of look, and she looks at you as you come up, and she catches your eyes, and she's like, "Hi, do you play?"
I do actually.
Oh, would you like? And she stops playing. She looks at the others, and she takes off the guitar strap and hands it toward you. And it's not a flirtation, but it's an invitation, and it's a welcome. Show me what you can do. And let's see.
Wonderful. Hey,
Good.
so I as he takes the guitar, he also takes off the muddy green kind of coats, and underneath his torso and all the tattoos on it are now a bright gold color.
Cool.
His chains are now really shining, and like, I am right here, look at me.
Cool.
and his posture, his just almost seemingly just roars confidence as he takes the guitar and walks up onto stage.
She's there's not an actual stage,
Or
but you could stand. I wouldn't recommend standing in the center of the room because that's where the energy is going up. But you could like kind of step back so that you're the center or a center of attention over here.
yeah.
Okay, cool. When you are doing that, and Mike, when you're analyzing the sample, Heather, Sasha, while you're reaching in and kind of looking at the blue heart and pulling the energy toward it, the big road warrior looking dude kind of looks down to the other woman, and she looks up at him, and they both start walking toward you. And the road warrior looking dude does not look happy. And he comes up to you, Mike. He's like, "Hi. You're all welcome here, of course. I'm glad to see you here at the Temple of Tranquility. Thank you. If you want to relax, you're free to do that. But I'm afraid I really have to invite you to take your electronic recording devices elsewhere. I'm sure you can understand why."
Actually, no, that would be like separating a part of my soul.
Well, then I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I invite you, and that's the other woman kind of like elbows him, and he said, I am inviting you to seek another place of solace other than our camp. What he means, what Trainwreck means to say, says the other woman, smiling at you very, very charmingly, almost a preternatural charm. What Trainwreck means to say is you are welcome. All of you are welcome here at the Temple of Tranquility, but we really have to enforce the boundaries of this. This is sacred space. We can't have people intruding on the we can't have people intruding on the privacy of our artists, she says, gesturing over to the other to Michael and to the other woman there, or of our guests. And she gestures to the people around here. She says, I can absolutely understand. I deeply sympathize if your electronics are important to you, but they're not welcome here in this space. I have to ask you to please take them elsewhere or find another place to relax. Thank you.
So what's the matter? You guys don't like someone fiddling with this knob on the stereo?
And the big guy says, actually, no.
Guess don't mess with the DJ's radio.
Yeah, he crosses his arms, says, we're asking you nicely to leave. Do we need to call the not the danger rangers? Do we need to call the holy fools?
Possibly. I mean, I'm not going to be a bother, but I will leave peacefully, but
Thank you. Please do. And what are the rest of you doing during this exchange? Okay.
So I'm still helping Heather.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, my actions are going to be based on what Heather is doing. So
Okay.
that seems to be most of where my energy is going right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I had gotten kind of, as I was absorbing the energy and feeling the melancholy almost taken away with it, but got distracted from that listening to the argument between the bouncer and Mike. I so voice And apparently I have very high manipulation on my character sheet. I stand up and I slowly walk over to the bouncer, and I'm wondering if there's some way that I could speak with him to manipulate him into getting Mike to stay.
Yeah, you could you could make nice and convince him that no, this is my friend. He's well, let him stay. Mike, put your thing there. You put your thing there away. That's what's bothering him. You could try getting into an insult contest with him and see if with the big dude and see if that might impress him. You could, since your manipulation is high, you could probably appeal to the shorter woman who is standing next to him and see if she can call the bouncer off. But what is really, really obvious to all of you is that she's the center of attention as far as the other folks here are concerned. She's definitely the one calling the shots, except maybe for that thing up in the ceiling.
So I'll appeal to her.
Oh, Kitty. Mm-hmm. Oh, Kitty. Okay, cool. What do you do?
My God, my brain isn't working.
Okay. It's all right. So real quick, I'm going to check in. Anthony, how are we doing for time? Okay. Okay. So what you, Heather, sense would probably work best with her would be using the kind of turning what's called nonviolent communication or compassionate communication that both of them have been using, her more than him. That whole I invite you, I sense, I hear you, I see where you're coming from. I invite you to perhaps take this as an opportunity to do something more constructive. You can sense that using that kind of terminology with her will probably get her to do what you want, especially if you throw a little bit of mind behind that.
Alrighty. So how would do I roll for that? Or?
Yeah, in this case, that would be your manipulation plus either empathy or etiquette. Let me check the character sheet here real quick. That's healer. Let's see, your manipulation is persuasive 4, empathy 3. Yeah, I'll be your manipulation plus empathy. That would be 7 dice, and re-roll any 10s. You're going to have to be convincing her to do something that she's probably not really inclined to do. So that would be about a difficulty 7.
Okay.
Is it possible for me to give her some of my quintessence, because I have a whole bunch of it, or help in some way? Okay.
You have prime 2, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you can use prime 2, and I'm not going to make you roll for this. You can just you're already doing it. You can give her 2 points to quintessence to lower that difficulty to 5.
Okay.
From a game mastering standpoint, what I'm doing here is bending the rules, because we're not going to dig through this monstrosity here to figure out exactly how this roll would work. One of the big things about running games, and you've probably already got this before, from other sessions, is games are like improvisational theater. Rather than saying no, unless no is something that you absolutely do not want the players to do, it's yes and or yes but. You want to facilitate the thing that's going to make the game fun and cool for everybody. So in this particular case, I'm bending the rules because what Sasha and Heather are doing is really cool and fits the story. So yes, you can do it. Heather, Sasha has lowered your difficulty to 5. And just roll roll those 7 dice, and anything from 5 higher is a success.
Yeah, already did. So I have 5s that are 5 or higher.
Okay, cool.
I have a 7, 7, 5, 7, and 9,
Nice.
and 2 1s.
Cool. Oh, you have 2 1s. Okay, the 1s take 1 success away, so you've still got 3 successes. Cool. So basically, you New Age speak her, and she listens, and she goes. She kind of turns to the big guy, and she's like, "Trainwreck, maybe I invite you to allow him to stay under the condition." And she says, turning to you, Mike, "I do invite you, under the condition of you remaining here, that you please put your recording devices away to protect and safeguard the privacy of the people here. Are we all agreed? That sounds like a good idea to me."
I accept this invitation.
Thank you. And may I? Are you open to hugs? Might I hug you?
I'm pro hug.
And she reaches over and she gives you a hug. It's a really good hug. She's not doing anything, particular with it. It's just like she just feels like a really nice person giving you a really nice hug. And she comes to you, Heather. She goes, "Thank you for suggesting that. Are you open to hugs?"
I am. And could I, from hugging her, get any more information, since I'm laying on hands technically?
Yep, you sure could. Okay.
Raise
So
your hand.
yep. So you hug her. Again, it's one of those things where, especially because we're kind of running low on time, and I want to give this a give this a good lead us to a good conclusion here. Yes, what you sense from her is she's a person of really good intention, but very deep sorrow. And that she's kind of compensating for that sorrow and trying to win past that sorrow by trying to do good for people. And what you can sort of sense from the entity up there is that it's using her, and by extension, using the rest of them. What you get from hugging her is that this is a person who really means well, and she often fears, as we were talking about a little while ago, fears that she doesn't do well, but she's trying.
So I have an idea, and I don't know how this could possibly work. So because witches, or at least my character, the witch, my focus is circles and dance. I also have high life. I was wondering with Heather if we could possibly invoke just going with this new age thing, a healing circle dance around the heart with
Mhm.
with both mics, helping the artists and amplifying that, specifically him using his abilities to amplify that type of healing life circle, that we are accepting the sorrow, but we are also allowing it to sort of pass, and we're no longer holding it, like holding that trauma, and allowing it to just be. And that maybe by doing that, that will somehow help this entity of melancholy to no longer hunger as much as it is to understand that it's okay to be what it is, and that it's to have more flexibility, since at least in my head, this idea of this, like, why it's constantly hungering and needing, is that it's stuck in this, that it's not able to be as flowy as catastrophe, and be able to change and morph and be like, yes, I'm sad, and maybe my sadness will be super deep, but then maybe it's not, and that's okay. So that's sort of where I'm going with this.
Theoretically, yeah, that actually sounds like a really good idea.
Okay.
Do you tell the others what you have in mind, or how do you tell the others?
So I will turn to Heather and I go, Heather, my sister. I have this wonderful idea, and I hope I can bring this to you, our new dear friends. May I call you a dear friend? And I look to these two.
These two being the
Yes.
bouncer dude and the priestess. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And and in my culture, I look to my friends and I may call you, if you allow, sister and brother. I would like to show my appreciation a in a dance where we all join hands and we are able to feel each other, and we're able to create a bond and support one another. And I would like to invite everyone into this. May I do so?
The priestess kind of looks at you and looks at all of you, and I'm not even going to have you roll on this, because that was beautifully role played. She looks at you and tears start running down her face, and she's like, "Thank you. I think," and she looks up briefly at the other guy, and she's, "I think," and she takes his hand. She says, "I think that would be wonderful," and she reaches for your hand. And you
Sounds good.
don't sense any covert agenda in this.
Okay. So I'm going to take her hand. I'm then going to take Heather's hand. I'm going to kind of I guess, put like my life energy mixed with my prime, because those are like my two whatevers.
Mhm.
So she understands that I'm like want to send this energy through it. So, and I kind of look to Michael and Michael,
Mm.
and like, may you bring the gift, if you wish, of music, and to, if it is all right, to, what's another word for amplification,
Enhance.
imbue your spirit to it, as you are, the way that you would, so that all can feel this beautiful dance that we are going to perform. And I would like to kind of call everyone around us to join us if they wish.
My character motions to Mike up to the same area to like play together.
My
Okay.
character joins you.
And the woman who handed you the guitar picks up, and she turns out she's got a flute next to her. She picks up the flute, and she kind of looks at you and says, "Well, lead on."
All right. Question. One of my practices is invigorate, and how would I do that?
Is invigoration. Invigoration is mostly about getting your kind of getting to like workout, basically. Doing a lot of exercise and so forth. Dancing would count, though. You could do the you could do the dancing along with the music as you're playing. You could also, let me check, because it seems to me that one of your practices is also art, or one of your instruments is also art.
It's like the arts, I think.
Yeah, gutter magic, invigoration, yoga, dance, meditation, music, social domination, what you can do is you can raise your voice, and as you had done a little while ago, bring yourself in as the center of attention, with kind of some flourishes and a strong voice, and play some really powerful notes and draw people in with that, and raise energy with that. You could do that.
So, all right, I look at the flautist, I guess, and I look at Mike's character, and I just kind of like whisper to them real quick, key of C, keep the harmonies going, and follow me for tempo changes. And then I put the guitar on and take a deep breath and just start with one rather mellow but seemingly carrying, and just let it ring out.
Cool. Again, I won't even have you roll for that. That works. So, and all of you feel the reverberations of that one note resonate again through you. And you see, those of you who are still looking, if anybody's still looking at that column of energy, it wavers a little bit. And who's standing in the doorway, or standing or kneeling? Because I think, Heather, you were kneeling. As he's playing, those of you who are in the doorway sense the spirit of catastrophe suddenly standing behind you and moving in the rhythm as Michael begins to play. And I guess, Mike, what are you doing?
I am kind of just backing him on bass.
Okay. Cool. And Heather, what are you doing?
Well, we are now hand in hand. What I want to do is kind of get into that meditative state again, where I start to use all of the positive energy that I can muster and spread that from Sasha to the woman to whoever's holding her hand. And it's almost as if it's like a glowing golden light that transfers from me and then to the next, and until we're like all this glowing warm light.
Cool. Okay, then.
You don't have to speak, you can do it in the dance, you don't have to hide.
And as Michael raises his voice and the rest of you join in, and the flautist throws in some notes, and Mike, as you begin to sample and add a bass sample behind it, the energy there starts to waver and coruscate in time with the music. And the priestess and the big road warrior dude and the other people who you had seen off to the side, the kind of like greasy, snaky dude kind of starts just fading out, pulling a graceful dismount out behind one of the other tents as the music rises and the people begin to dance. The people who were sleeping kind of rise up and they're like, oh, that's cool. And they also start to dance. And Catastrophe herself swirls in and begins, again, she's dressed again back in belly dancer gear. And this time she's not shifting between garb. This time she's kind of dressed like a tribal belly dancer with scarves, and she begins waving the scarves around, almost like the banners and the tentacles had been sweeping out at the top, except that she's drawing them in and then dispersing them, and all of you can sense the energy rising, dissipating. The blue heart fades to green and begins to pulse in time with the music, and you all sense you all sense a profound wave of relief and joy and release as all those things which have been held and channeled and repressed begin to flow out in a positive and healing way, not denying the grief, not denying the pain, but embracing that those are only passing sensations in life, and that the life itself, which you can feel pulsing up now through the rugs, into your feet, into your spines, up the chakras, into your hands, into the instruments. It's the life itself that's the most important part. And here and now, you all dance with life. And leave things there. Thank you. Congratulations. You have healed the you've healed the pain, and you've channeled the energy into something, yeah, into something positive and glorious. So yeah, good job, y'all.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I agree.
Cool. So yeah, that's Mage, and obviously that's a very brief and very positive view of Mage. One of the things about Mage as its, I guess, a primary designer and primary author is, like I said earlier, I always wanted to make it empowering, positive whenever possible, and though there's plenty of potential in Mage for violence, I've always, as a designer, looked at encouraging people to do things differently than that. So cool. Thank you. You all did a great job with that. All of you, and just all of you. Thank you for taking the characters and running with them. Thank you for taking your own energy and your own inspiration, your own creativity, because that's fucking awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
thank you for having an actual game that sort of allows that and just really,
Collaborative.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's super collaborative, and also just the amount of creativity to really get into those emotions and it not, I won't say cheesy, but it's like it's encouraged and supported. And that's where we want to go. We want to have those moments where we're like, yeah, we're going to have like a dance circle, and this is how this is going to solve the day. And we're all like, this is the coolest thing
Yeah.
ever.
I really love that you did that. I love what you all did with this. I love, Sasha, that you came up with that. I love, Heather, that you were like looking at how to heal the pain rather than to go, bad spirit. Mike, I love how you were incorporating the tech into it and getting an analysis of what the problem was, and finding a way to remix it. And Michael, I love that you kind of stepped up and occupied that and said, okay, I am now center stage. I'm going to be the focus for this great ritual, because that's fucking awesome. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
And thank you.
Thank you. Mhm.
Thanks. Do you have any other questions or anything that you wanted to go over or talk about while we're still here?
Yes, my only question, much like we asked John, I mean, getting to have and getting to play with DMs like you is a blessing. And if there's other ways to get to play with you guys,
Thank you. Well, I can post my social media on. I generally, more often than not, I tend to play in the games rather than run them because I write the damn things. But
forever DM.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll post my social media. Any of you who want to, stay in contact with or follow me, please do. Just let me know who you are, because by Twitter and so forth, we go by a million different names. But yeah, there are other groups who emphasize more role playing than the I now hit the orc for 14 points of damage playing. and again, it really, it depends on, it depends on who you're gaming with. But thank you, because yeah, I'm trying to think of how to, yeah, what y'all are doing, especially, well, yeah, especially what y'all are doing. This is the kind of role playing I really enjoy. So thank you. I definitely prefer this over, pile up the orc corpses. I guess. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, yeah, it just reminded me like kind of going back with something John says a lot. It's a lot better than just rushing in and killing everybody who looks different than us and rifling their pockets for loose change.
Yeah. Yeah, the best way to find people, I'm digging through my social media now so I can put it into chat. The best way to find people who are more oriented toward this sort of gaming is to get involved in usually online communities that are focused more on storytelling, role playing, rather than strategic role playing. I also highly recommend, though I'm not obviously a designer for it, I highly recommend the Powered by the Apocalypse system games. Monster Hearts, in particular, is a favorite of mine, because those are very role playing and relationship oriented, rather than carnage and warfare oriented. And so the communities around those are more more focused on character interaction than on hit points and body counts. And let's see, just trying to jump through the tech hoops here.